Now, in the case where you push a lever, which then causes a bit of machinery to go off into the side spur, of course our long evolutionary history would not have confronted us with such high-tech problems. So Singer says that our evolutionarily selected emotional reactions just don't apply to that case, and there we can just let reason take over. Now Singer comes to the conclusion that we should actually trust reason and acknowledge that our emotional inhibitions are not going to be all that fine-grained. They're usually reliable, because usually when we are inhibited against killing, it would do more harm than good to kill. But in some unusual cases, such as the case that philosophers have arranged involving pushing someone off a footbridge, you'll actually do more good than harm by killing the one with your bare hands.
So Singer says you should push the guy off the bridge because that will produce the best consequences in terms of outcome, because only one person will die rather than 5.
That's right. So Singer ends up endorsing the utilitarian point of view according to which you should always do the most good. And we ought to trust our reasoning over our evolutionarily selected inhibitions.
But you disagree with Singer.
That's right. We can simply once again modify the footbridge case so that rather than involving the killing of someone with your bare hands by shoving him off a footbridge, we can imagine that, as in the original trolley case, the way to save the 5 is to push a lever. But in this case, rather than the levers turning the points of the trolley so that it goes off the main track and onto the side spur, if you push the lever, what happens is the trap door opens underneath the large man on the footbridge, sending him down onto the main track so that the trolley hits him and comes to a halt rather than carrying on down and killing the 5. Now, most people, I think, have the intuition that it's impermissible to push the lever that activates the trap door. So the problem is, how do we explain why it is that it's impermissible to activate the trap door, but it's permissible to send the trolley down the side spur where there's one person? In each case, you kill one where the killing of the one is necessary if you're to save 5 lives.
It does seem strange, doesn't it? Because they're both switch-pushing events. They both have the same consequence as somebody dies, and they both have the same consequence that 5 people are saved, effectively.
So at this point, I think it's useful to appeal to something known as the doctrine of double effect, a doctrine that goes actually back to the Catholic teachings of Thomas Aquinas.
Okay, so what is the law of double effect?
Well, this doctrine prohibits the intending of an evil, such as, for example, the hitting of an innocent person with a trolley. It prohibits intending an evil either as an end in itself or as a means to some greater good. But the doctrine, by contrast, says that it's sometimes permissible to do that which you merely foresee will bring about an evil, so long as you don't intend the evil.
So that might be easier to understand if you gave a specific example of how it could be applied.
Here's one application. Take the case of euthanasia. The Catholic Church teaches that it's impermissible to give someone a massive dose, say, of morphine with the intention of killing that person. But it is permissible in certain circumstances to administer a dose of morphine in order to alleviate excruciating pain, even though you foresee that that dose of morphine will also bring about the death of the person, so long as the intention is alleviation of pain, not the death of the person, which would be regarded as an evil by the Catholic Church.
Okay, so let's get back to the trolley problem. How does that illuminate what's going on with those cases?
So in the trapdoor version, it seems pretty clear that you intend that the trolley hit the one. Your intention is that you bring the person down from the footbridge onto the track of the trolley so that the trolley will hit him in order to come to a halt. So it appears you intend this evil of the trolleys hitting this one innocent person. Now recall the original trolley case. Well, in the original trolley case, the hitting of the one person on the side spur isn't at all useful. So if that one person didn't exist on the side spur, you'd be able to save the 5 simply by sending the trolley down this empty side spur. Now note that you actually need the trolley to hit the one person in the trapdoor case. So it seems that you merely foresee the death of the one in the original trolley case, but you intend that the trolley hit the one in the trapdoor version of the trolley case.
So the doctrine of double effect could explain the difference between the two cases. It could actually illuminate why we're prepared to flick the switch in the ordinary trolley problem, but we're not going to push the button to let the large person stop the train.
It does appear to do a very nice job of sorting out these two cases. Unfortunately, there are other cases which the doctrine of double effect doesn't deal well with. Let's consider one such case. This is what's known as the loop version of the trolley case. Now, this case is just like the original trolley case, with one big difference. So remember, in the original trolley case, the trolley is headed towards the 5, and you send it off onto a side spur, where it will end up hitting 1 on that side spur. Now, in the loop version, the side spur involves a bit of track that eventually loops back around and rejoins the main track. So if the side track had been empty, then you're sending the trolley onto the side track wouldn't really do much good, because it just goes off onto this temporary detour, but then rejoins the main track and kills the 5 in any event. If, however, there's someone on that side track, then the trolley will actually come to a halt by hitting that one person. Now, the majority of philosophers have the intuition that it's permissible to turn the trolley in this loop version of the trolley case, yet it also appears that you're using the hitting of the one person as a means to save the 5 people in this version.
Well, that's weird, isn't it? Assuming that person's large enough to stop the trolley, that person is being used as a block, a human shield against the other 5.
It does seem strange that people would think it's permissible to kill the one in this case, where it's clear you're using the one as a means, whereas it's impermissible to kill the one in the trapdoor case, where once again you're using the person as a means.
So you're saying that most philosophers won't drop a large person from a footbridge by pressing a button, but they will flick a switch that sends a trolley on a loop with the result that it kills a large person on the track and stops the trolley. At first glance, that seems fine, because the loop problem looks almost the same as the original trolley problem. You've got a trolley coming up to a fork. You either kill one person or you kill 5.
Well, I think that people do actually tend to assimilate the loop case to the original trolley case. It seems so similar to the original trolley case. Some philosophers have said, well, the only difference between the two cases is that there's an extra bit of track that loops around behind that person. How could the addition of that extra bit of track make a morally significant difference?
But you think it's wrong for philosophers to say it's okay to go down the loop?
Even though it seems hard to distinguish the loop case from the original trolley case, you're using the hitting of the one as a means in the loop case, not in the original trolley case. And the doctrine of double effect distinguishes between using as a means and merely foreseeing the hitting of the one. So I think that the loop case should really be assimilated to the trapdoor case, where we use the one as a means, rather than being assimilated to the original trolley case. The respect in which it's like the trapdoor case, namely you're using the one as a means, is I think more morally relevant than the respects in which it seems so similar to the original trolley case. And I think it's worth mentioning that though most philosophers think that it's permissible to turn the trolley onto the side track in the loop case, when individuals are polled and they're confronted with the loop case first, before they've been confronted with any other case, a majority of them don't say it's permissible. In fact, people split 50-50. So I think that the history of the trolley case in the philosophical literature, the fact that the loop case is presented after the trolley case, about which people have such strong intuitions, should lead us to question the intuitive response of philosophers that it's permissible to turn the trolley in the loop case.
These trolley cases are quite artificial. I mean, most people in their daily life aren't going to encounter runaway trolleys in this sort of way, fortunately. But it's not just a philosopher's game, this. There are real-life implications for this kind of thinking.
Right, so I mentioned the case of euthanasia and the distinction that people draw between administering morphine to relieve pain, foreseeing that someone will die, and administering morphine with the intention of killing someone. Now, the other application is the case of terrorism and warfare. People who apply the doctrine of double effect to warfare will insist that it's impermissible to drop a bomb on a city, whether it be Hiroshima or whether it be the firebombing of Dresden, with the intention of killing innocents, even if that's in pursuit of the worthy goal of bringing about an end to this war. Whereas they won't take the same attitude towards the dropping of a bomb on a military target, say on a munitions factory, even if a comparable number of people will die. The latter, of course, has acquired the repugnant name of collateral damage. But even if we reject that terminology, I think that we still want to draw a distinction. It's never permissible to intend the death of innocents in warfare, whereas it's sometimes permissible to foresee that the same number of people will die in the pursuit of some military objective.
So this is a case where what seems to be a very abstract philosophical discussion impinges directly on how we decide to live our lives.
That's right. It's actually incorporated into rules of warfare that most people accept.
Michael Otsuka, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ethics Bites was produced in association with the Open University. You can listen to more Ethics Bites on open2.net, where you'll also find supporting material. Or you can visit www.philosophybites.com to hear more philosophy podcasts.